All right, so I reckon it's probably time for our main billing or our main presentation tonight. So, and tonight's all about how to become the go-to authority in your industry. So the reason why I'm talking about that, and in fact, I'm your guest speaker tonight, so we don't have a guest. It is me being the first, is it the first Tuesday of the month? I think it is. So yes, first Tuesday of the month is the slot that I generally try and reserve for myself. But the reason why I sort of share that is that one of the comments that I get from people quite regularly is that I appear to be everywhere on Facebook, on the web, on social media, all over the place. I'm not, but it just appears that way. And I had a number of comments from people saying that I must spend all of my working hours on these platforms, and just keeping up with comments and posting and whatever. So I don't, but it looks like it. I do. So one of the things that that we do endeavour to do is to try and get around about 10. A minimum of 10 posts up a day, which we generally manage that. Sometimes it's more than 10 as well too, and really and across a number of platforms. And it's really that there that helps to be seen on a fairly regular basis. Now, the thing about being a go-to expert, let me just share the screen here if I can find it again. Way too many screens open here. All right. There you go. Discover the fastest way to become the go-to authority. Actually, I haven't shared the right screen, have I? Let me try that again. All right, let's try this one here. All right, hopefully you can see the title, Discover the Fastest Way to Become the Go-to Authority. Yep, thank you very much for those thumbs up. Okay, so maybe let's just ask a question first of all, and the first one is who would you consider to be the go-to authority in your industry? So think about your industry. Who is the person that is the leading expert or the go-to authority? Maybe just drop it into chat, just so we can see what sort of responses. Tell us what your industry is. Just briefly type your industry, just the name of it, or maybe what you do, and who you think the go-to expert is in your industry. So maybe give you a couple of examples while you're typing. I know it takes a wee while to type. Excellent, Aldrin, love that. You are fantastic. But let's see, in the personal development space, Tony Robbins would be considered the go-to expert. Is he the best? Would you consider him the best? So here's the thing. What do we got? Down here? Neil Patel, SEO. Yes, he's the go-to expert in the SEO industry. What do we got? Donna Downey, American art teacher who does workshops, sells her art and products. So Jane is in the art space online. So Donna Downey. All right. Jeanette Jifkins. Yes, me too in the legal. In fact, I'd have to say that I hear your name quite a lot in the legal space as well. So, yep, I'll give you that. Industry, Google reviews guy, me. Perfect. Yep, with those sort of reviews. So, so even if you are the expert as well too, think about who would be, like if you had an area that you were stuck or an area there that you think, who would I go to really get some information? Maybe it's just a pointer to help you on the way as well too. All right, breaking through the glass ceiling. Yes, Peter, you're the go-to expert in a field that you invented. Yeah, actually, one of the ways to be the go-to expert is to invent the field. So yes, well done, like that. So David, Buildability Advisor, Tritium Advisory. Yes, you're in the building industry there. Yeah, good to see you, David. Haven't seen you for a wee while, so good to see you here. Okay, Jeanette, if stuck, looking up court decisions and legal papers. Yes. So yeah, you're in a slightly different industry in that you've got lots of information there that you can look up. All right, excellent. So and if you think about if someone was getting started in your industry as well too, and they wanted, let's say, a start, or they wanted to know what's the pinnacle or the peak that they could aspire to. It may be you, but who would that person be? I know in the let's say in the WordPress space, like I'm very familiar with the WordPress website platform. The go-to authority in that industry is a man by the name of Matt Mullenweg. And he's the guy that really is responsible for that piece of software, accounting for about 40% of the web space across the globe these days. And he's a very recognizable name as well. So one of the things about being the go-to or the go-to authority is that they may not be the best, but they are the most recognizable. So think about Macca's Burgers. How many people think Macca's create the sensational burger that is the best that you just can't go past? So I won't tell you what I think of them because you probably already have your own opinions on it, but I do know that the local burger bar around the corner from me makes an eminently better burger than McDonald's does. One of the things that McDonald's does do very well, though, is it tells people that they create, well, it used to tell people they're the best burgers. I'm not sure they still do, but they tell people that they make burgers. So anyone wanting a quick meal and easy meal, they are very easy to find. And that name McDonald's hits the brain. Remember when my kids were very young, they're all sort of late teens and 20s now, is one of the things we didn't do was drop into McDonald's to give them a quick, easy feed of burger and chips. But one of the things that they, almost like their first word after ma and pa, was McDonald's. And it was the, and that was one of the most recognizable things. They were pointed at the McDonald's sign, even though they hadn't tasted it, seen it, they'd never been in there. So that's sort of what the go-to is like. It's a good example of a go-to, is that they're not great, but they're recognizable. So, so think about, for your industry, how do you become the recognizable expert in your industry amongst your peers and amongst your clients as well too? All right. Okay, what do we got here? Nowhere near as good as a local burger with a lot. Yes, absolutely. Okay. All right. So, what? So let's just think about this. Why would you bother becoming an authority in your industry? So let's feel free to open the mic and tell me why it might be advantageous to become the go-to authority. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, Nick, I guess not only are you going to probably attract more of your ideal client, but you can probably charge more too as being the authority.
Perfect. Yep. Absolutely. So yeah, both of those things. So you'll get more of your ideal client. In fact, you're a good demonstration of that with those reviews as well too. That's almost like becoming a go-to authority, because you've got other people saying how good you are, and that there in itself, would you say it accounts for about 3 sales a week? Is that right?
Yeah, over 3 sales every single week, and that's sales and not leads. So
sales, not leads. So it does translate into, business, real business for you. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what the ideal, becoming an authority does. What else does it do? So that's one, it gives you more sales, and it does give you more leads, which leads to sales. And another is it allows you to charge more. Any other ideas?
Yeah, I've got an idea, Nick. This is Red here. I was thinking, because we by nature like to follow people, be inspired by them, and I think you, without knowing it, sort of like start following certain people, regardless if it's in your field or even, say, a chef.
Yep. So you become sort of someone that people actually seek out or want to follow. Actually, food is probably a good one as well, isn't it? Because if you come onto a good restaurant or a good chef, then if that chef moves and you happen to know where they are, then often people will go and hunt out that restaurant or where they've moved to. All right, so it does sort of attract people to you, and one of the things it does do is it means that you don't have to hustle and and chase leads in business. It means that people are seeking you out and sort of looking for you. And how much easier is that than constantly having to advertise and chase and be that sales, I suppose that image of a salesperson having to go out and get business. What would you rather, people coming to you or you having to chase people? So it does help you stop that hustle, but definitely as far as leads, it has a real tangible benefit in terms of leads and sales. So why not you? So I was pleased to see that there were a few people in here that recognize themselves as the go-to expert, and I'd put up my hand in that segment as well too, which is why I do have some authority to be able to speak on this topic here tonight. How many people see me on a fairly regular basis around social media? Just pop up your hand if I appear in your feeds quite a lot. Excellent. Okay. So here's a really good example. I'm going to use you again, Carl, since you're here for the first time as well too. You've obviously seen me on the field. Is that part of the reason for being here?
Yeah, and a few people kind of also tagged you in a few posts and things like that, and that it wasn't organically showing up, but I got directed to you, and then obviously once I did a poke around, it started showing up more as it does happen.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happens as well too. So socials are really good for that sort of thing there, because sometimes just that introduction, and then the algorithm, you click on it, and then all of a sudden, it's like an ad, that annoying ad. It's just always there, sort of in your face there.
I wouldn't call you annoying, Nick. It's all very welcome.
Yeah, it's good. So why not you? And I think that if you want to make business easier, then becoming an authority in your niche or in your industry is one way to make it a lot easier. It also makes it cheaper for you as well too. So just imagine, if you've got 3 or 4 almost guaranteed pieces of business that come into you each week, what sort of difference would that make to you in your business? Just knowing that it happens without you chasing it. Make sense? All right. So that's really tonight is how how you can become an authority, and I'm really going to be talking to you about my experience and how I've done it. And in fact, if I tell you a story as well too, it was actually, funnily enough, I was at Macca's one day, and because they had free Wi-Fi and they do have coffee, I have to say I wasn't eating a burger. And I was just there in preparation for a seminar that I was going to. So it was just the final prep and getting some stuff printed at Officeworks down the road. And I just noticed these 2 blokes in a table just opposite me, and they kept on looking over my way. And I thought, oh, that's a bit weird. And then eventually one of the fellows got up and he walked over to me and said, excuse me for just sort of randomly coming in to speak to you, but are you Nick Cree? And I wasn't quick enough to sort of say, who's asking? Depends who's asking. But I said, well, yes, I am. And his comment was, oh, wow, I've been following you on social media for about 2 years now. So, so he said, I've always wanted to come along to your seminars that you ran. So this particular webinar here, remember I said it was going for 5 years. In its early days, it was a seminar which we held down at KDV Sports Centre and up in Brisbane. So both in Gold Coast and Brisbane. So because I've been on socials for that long, he came up and said that he'd seen me for 2 years. So if he'd been in the let's say at that stage there, we're actively creating websites, and so if he was in the position of wanting to get a website, well, who rises to the top in terms of preference then in terms of who they choose? Is it someone they just Google, or an ad that they click on social media, or Is it someone that they feel like they've got an affinity to? They know they've been following them around for a couple of years, and think, well, this person may sort of know a thing or two about it. Do you know people like that in your industry that you know, are quite visible like that? So a few nods there. So that's really what you want to become. That's the purpose of being that go-to expert. It's not that you know everything. It's just that you're highly visible. I think it was Brian Tracy said that in order to become an expert in your industry, you can do it in 12 months by reading one book a month on your specialty or your topic. Imagine that. Some people spend years at university, but if you read one book a month, you become the go-to expert. And a lot of it's about you know, visibility around all that, because you talk about that all the time. Plus you're increasing your knowledge around that topic as well too. Not to discount you know, sort of the time that people spend at university, but and there's a whole lot of other information you get there, but you know, it's a reasonably sort of quick shortcut, and can certainly help to accelerate your business and your career as well too. All right, so first thing is this one here. Nail your niche, call it. So this is your industry, and it's all about becoming known for something in your industry. So let's see who we got here as an example. I'm going to grab Jeanette as an example. She's a lawyer, and lawyers are a dime a dozen out there. Sorry to say, but they're a dime a dozen out there. And if you market yourself as a lawyer and get known to be a lawyer, then it's very so-so, and it's you know, you don't really sort of stand out. But there are all sorts of different lawyers out there that I discovered. There are those that do you know, family law. There's those that just deal in divorce and separation. There are those that deal in criminal law. There are those that just deal in traffic infringements. So, so if you think about that there, and there are those that deal in website documents and website legals. But if you think about that, if you let's say if you've got a website, for instance, and you need a terms and conditions and privacy policy for your website, who do you go to? Do you go to a criminal lawyer? Probably not. They might be able to draft it up for you, but probably not. You're not going to ring them as your first port of call. Going to go to you might go to a general lawyer, someone that just advertises himself as a lawyer. But if you see something come up in let's say a social media profile that says that they are a specialist in website terms and conditions, and that's what you're looking for, how does that impact your decision making about you know, who you go and contact as at the first point of call? So it's really important to get really specific about what you do. Art, for instance, since we've got Mrs. Red here from Mrs. Red's art room, art is an all-encompassing topic as well, and that can be, you know, photography, it can be video, it can be paints, it can be pastels, it can be pencils, it can be you know, sort of all sorts of things. So but if you nail it down to, so like if you are a, what did I do at school? Charcoal, you know, the charcoal painting, you know, where you sort of draw on paper with burnt sticks. So you know, if you're an expert in that, then that becomes the, you know, who you are the go-to person to become known for. So it's not that that's the only thing you do, but it's the but it's what you become known for. Give an example of a friend of mine who was a real estate agent in Wellington, New Zealand when I lived there. And real estate agents, a bit like lawyers, dime a dozen as well too. But what he so when he became a real estate agent, he was given a patch to I suppose harvest, and so he'd throw out his marketing flyers out into his particular patch, and that patch included commercial, included apartments, included residential, included rental property. So there's every type that was in there. But what he decided to do is he decided that he just didn't like hopping in the car and traveling and wasting all this petrol traveling to various places. So he decided to focus on only places in the city. So he became a real estate agent that really just focused on the city. Everything else that was outside of that, he referred on to his colleagues. So first thing is he became popular with his colleagues because he's always referring them business for residential property or things that are outside. But the other interesting thing that happened too is that when he specialized in the city, he became the go-to expert for city properties. His income doubled. So it had a real impact on his income. So he became known as the inner city specialist. So then what he did after that was he decided, well, even in the city, there's too many properties there. I'm going to focus on one type of property. And what he focused on was 2-bedroom properties. So and 2-bedroom new properties from developers. So that was all he focused on. So everything else he referred on in his office, and his income doubled again. So by narrowing his niche down, his income sort of dramatically increased because he became known as the expert in that particular area. So if anyone was looking for, say, 2-bedroom apartments in the city that were brand new, who did they go to? They went to Rene Morby because he was the person that was the go-to person in that area. Could they have gone to another real estate agent? Absolutely. But, you know, if you really want to go and sort of get the best property, or sort of know that you're dealing with someone that knows about it, you go to, you know, the person that deals in that industry. And he eventually just, he sort of got it right down to, I think he ended up with only certain buildings that he was dealing with. So he became quite niche in it. He was on over $1 million a year in commissions. And this is like 10 years ago. So in that there, he became the go-to expert. He didn't have to travel far. He was only dealing with about 5 buildings, I think, and he was on over $1 million a year. So it does really impact your income. And the reason why it does that is because you are seen as the expert in that area. He used to tell people he was the expert as well too. So not only was he just working it, he would tell people who he's the expert, and other people would tell clients and customers he was the expert. So he was referring out, remember, he's referring out all these other properties to the other agents there. They would have clients there that would come to them saying that they want a 2-bedroom property in the city. They would refer those people to him. And other people that are in the that have bought those would refer it to him. So on a whole number of levels, it became good for business. Now he got asked the question, well, what would happen if the bottom fell out of the property market? I mean, that's never happened before, has it? Maybe in for it again. But well, you know, let's say it did fall out. He said, well, you know, what would you do? Your income's gone and everything's gone. He said, well, look, I know the process. All I do is I'll become an expert in another area. I would just move my focus from 2-bedroom apartments to something else and become the you know, go-to expert in that. So just because you're the go-to expert in one area doesn't mean you're locked in there for life. You've got a process to be able to do it, and you know, and you can be adaptable and change as the market and the environment changes as well. That makes sense? Excellent. Okay. So get really specific about your particular niche, your industry, what you serve, the sort of clients that you work with, and the problems and issues they have. And that's the easiest way to really start becoming that go-to expert. So it comes down to your decision on the clients that you want to work with, or the product and services that you want to offer quite specifically. You know, if you ask Tony Robbins, for instance, you know, if he's the go-to person in the personal development space, I don't know whether he is or not, but, you know, his name just keeps cropping up all the time. I know that well, it's reported that he charges $1 million plus for a consultation with him. If you happen to be one of the elite, wealthy actresses, actors, royal family in the world, they will pay $1 million for a session with Tony Robbins, because he's the go-to expert in, was it not? Is it NLP? I think it was. Yeah. Well, he calls it something else, NAC. So he's a go-to expert in that there, and transformational results. So you know, he's able to command those prices. So that's why I got you to think about, you know, who is the go-to in your industry now. If you are, that's great. But you've probably got a few notches to step it up. If you're not, then, you know, and even if you think you are, I'd still encourage you to go a bit wider and just think about, you know, who is that person? They may be local, or they may be, you know, somewhere else in the world, and think about what would it take to get yourself into the position where you're as well known as they are in your industry. And it's a bit like being the big fish in the little pond. It's much better to be the big fish in the little pond than a small fish in a rather large pond. And if you happen to be in a large pond at the moment, that's okay. You just become a bigger fish. So it's the process of just becoming known in your pond. So be unique and specific about what it is you offer. So I've given you that example with Renee, who is that real estate agent. I'll give you another example of a motor mechanic, and you think, well, motor mechanic, they're a dime a dozen out there as well too. But I know a motor mechanic that only deals in European cars. They will not touch Japanese cars. They only deal in European cars, and they only deal in specific models and brands. So you're talking about Audi, BMW, Mercedes. I think that's their mainstay that they deal with. There's another mechanic workshop that I've met. They only deal in European sports cars. So they will deal in Mercedes, but only if you happen to have an AMG sort of sports version of the Mercedes. Why is that important? If you're owning a vehicle that is worth $250,000 to $500,000, do you just take it down to the local mechanic and hope they know what they're doing? Or do you want to take it to someone that knows what they're doing? So, for someone that is in the mechanical trade, then that sort of specialty become known as the sports car specialist. Are there lots of sports cars on the road around sort of where you live? I know I used to live up Mount Tamborine. Every weekend there were Lamborghinis and Abarths and Porsches, and all those car clubs would come up there, and well, presumably they're coming up to have a glass of wine and a beer, but I'm not quite so sure about that. Maybe they're just coming out for the cheese, because who wants to drive one of those expensive sports cars after a couple of beers?
It's funny you should say that, Nick, because I was up there at Tamborine a while back, and there was a Porsche that had ended up in the wall rather nicely, totally written his car off. He was all right, but he totally written his car off, and he was standing there like he wasn't entirely happy.
So he'd be looking for, well, it's probably too late for him to look for a Porsche specialist, because that's all over Red Rover. Yeah. Excellent. So, so again, so think about in your industry, where can you narrow it down to be the specialist in what you do? I'm looking at someone in the construction industry. That'd be David. You're a specialist in a particular area, aren't you?
I am, yes, in commercial construction.
Yep.
So pretty much anything that I really touch is like really from about 10 million to, well, up to $1 billion. But yeah, starts at about 10 million. It's not worth really looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah. So even that in itself is still quite a wide, even though it's quite niche, because you're not dealing with sort of, $500,000 houses or $1 million houses. You're dealing commercial. It's 10 million plus up to $1 billion. But even in that, you could then sort of hone that down even further, and you may say anything that is over 10 stories, for instance. So that would be a specialty. So you get to be the specialist in that sort of area as well. So the key is to refine it down as far as you possibly can. You don't want to refine it down so you're only dealing with one product or one sort of item, and unless that one item happens to be a multi-billion-dollar project, that's probably okay to be the specialist in that area. But you narrow it down so there's enough people in that market that you can serve, but you can easily become the expert in that. So, and what happens is you're eliminating the competition. So, just all of those standard house builders, they're not going to be competition for you at all, are they, Dave?
No.
So you're really just eliminating all that.
And like I say, at the moment, it's in the field of insurance that it's been quite specialized. So, and there's a lot more money in that. They pay like hundreds of thousands just to get a report. Like you're dealing with things that are like $50 million shopping centers and things like that. But that's quite a specialist field in itself as well. Yeah.
Awesome. So you'd be the go-to person in that sort of area there when you've got insurance companies, wanting to get, let's say, a report for
absolutely.
what you do. Yeah. So they're not going to go to a standard run-of-the-mill builder for that, are they?
Well, they want something that's independent.
Yeah.
You see, so that's the key to it, is being independent. Otherwise, yes, they have to go to builders in that sort of concept, which they prefer not to. So then they can put it out to the market. Yeah.
So again, sort of identifying those sort of key things there that they want. So they're problems that people have and like insurance company, that's a key thing that they want. Then you can really target that and be quite unique in that. So think about your, what's unique and specific about your products. Now you may deal in industry with lots of things. Just pick one. Doesn't have to be the sole thing, but just pick that one. Work on that one there for sort of 3 to 6 months. It doesn't mean you're not doing any other work, but and as far as your marketing and processes are concerned, you're really becoming the go-to expert on that one unique specific thing. Solve one problem. So what's the biggest problem in your industry that you can solve, or that you've got the answer to? So if it's a fairly major problem, what is that one problem that you can solve? So think about that there. So, and generally it's the biggest, it can be the biggest problem, or it can be an expensive problem that people have, or it can be quite a specialist problem. So that other people, people just don't have the skills to deal with run-of-the-mill people. So what is that one problem? For my industry, one of the things that I can solve and work with people on are people that are wanting to create online courses and online membership programs. So I've done a ton of that, and I'm a specialist in that area there in terms of building getting websites built and doing the marketing for that side of things there. So that's not your standard tradie websites. It's not your standard business website. They're quite specific websites in its own right. If in reputation management, for instance, and a couple of people here doing that, then you can become a specialist in a particular industry in reputation management. Pick an industry that's really difficult. People have difficulties in terms of their reviews, and then become a specialist in their reputation and recovering in that as well too. Then it's easy to charge more money, because it's costing people to have poor reviews. If you're able to prevent that from the start, then that makes it helps them to solve a problem that they just don't know how to do to start with. So pick one problem, one major problem, and be the go-to person for that. All right. So the next thing is, and this is what I do, is focus on one channel to really deliver your message. So anyone happen to know what channel I use most of the time is, or my go-to preferred channel? Any takers?
Facebook.
Facebook it is. Yep. Do I like it? Not necessarily. Do I spend a lot of time there? Probably way too much time, but it is one of my go-to places. I've been there for countless years now, and have really built an audience there. So pick one platform as your main focus. It doesn't mean you're not on other platforms, but pick the one that you spend most of your time on. I know, was it Jane? She's Mrs. Red. She's LinkedIn. That's her platform. So if you want to follow her and see where she's at, LinkedIn is her platform of choice. Aldrin, I think yours is probably Facebook, right? So she's always there with a good news challenge and, what she's doing there. So pick your platform that you become very good at, that you get seen all the time. That's really been one of the keys for me to be seen and recognized because what happens is that people might be across different platforms. So they might be on Facebook, they might be on LinkedIn, they might be on Instagram. But what will happen is that they are primarily on one sort of platform. So it's a bit like, if you go to church, you can go to the Episcopal Church, you can go to the Methodist Church, the Presbyterian, Uniting Church, or whatever. But if you go to one church, then you're developing a community of people that know, like, and trust you in that one community, and then it's easy to go and visit other places or other churches. But you are highly visible and in one particular community. So it's the same with your social media as well too. And so you'll see my go-tos are anyone happen to know what my posting schedule is? Like when you happen to see me, anyone sort of identify those days? Yeah, Aldrin.
Every day.
Yeah, yes. Thank you. Yes, I am there every day. That is absolutely right. But there are also some critical times that I'm there as well too, sort of which I really engage people.
8:30 and 6:30.
Probably not so much the time. The times are right, but not those times.
At 11 a.m. on a Tuesday, I see you doing your lives.
11 a.m. Tuesday. That's our 10. Yeah, between 10 and 11, I'm always on Facebook on Tuesday doing a live. So, and that's in my diary. And we'll talk about that. Is that you schedule your time that you are going to be there as well too. So for me, that is an immovable appointment. No one will book my time between 10 and 11 because this is my time to show up for people on Facebook. I'm there religiously every week. You'll see me there. If you go back through my feed every Tuesday, 10 to 11, I'm there. Actually, Brad, you're partly right as well too. The other time that I post is about 6 o'clock in the morning. Anyone know what I post at 6 o'clock in the morning? This is not every day, but this is every 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, your F45 fitness thing.
My F45 fitness thing. So yes, I go to the gym and it has almost killed me. But out of that, there are all sorts of lessons and things that I have from that there, and I post that at that sort of time there. It's amazing how many people are on Facebook at that time, because as I finish posting, all of a sudden the comments come through as well too. So that
I find people are just getting up at that time of the day too.
Yeah, so the first thing they do in bed is they check the phone and
Pick up their
check
phone.
Facebook. Yeah, and who do they wake up to but me, with my sweaty body having come out of the gym. Yep.
Thank goodness we can smell it as well.
Yes. So pick a channel, and not only pick your channel, but pick your times that you are consistently going to show up on that channel as well. That really helps to build your authority, because people expect to see you there. And the other funny thing too is that, so people check their phones around about the same time most days as well too. So Brad just mentioned, 6 o'clock in the morning, people get up, if they're in the habit of checking their phones, which I would have to say, if you do that, stop it. It's a bad habit to be into. But if you check, if they're doing that, then they're going to do that each time in the day. So, if you're posting, let's say for me, 6 o'clock in the morning, I guarantee I'm going to get the same audience a lot of the time at that time, every time. There'll be new people coming in and out as well too, but just like ads on TV, how, when I don't watch TV anymore, but, I used to watch TV, and you hear these ads come on, the jingles come on, and you start singing it. Even if you're not in front of the ad, you're driving the car, and then all of a sudden, the McDonald's show tune comes into your head, or who was it? I think it was Frank Walker, National Tiles. That was always in my head, that one there. But the thing about ads is that you hear them over and over and over and over again. It's repetition. And that is one of the keys to developing authority status in your industry, or being visible, highly visible, is to be repetitive, consistent and repetitive. So showing up at 11 o'clock, 10 to 11 each Tuesday, that is consistency. The same audience are going to be there. They're going to see you on a regular basis, and you'll get new people coming in and out. Same thing, with 6 o'clock in the morning. If you're posting it, 8:30 in the morning, at 6 o'clock at night, just do that consistently. Don't have to do it every day. But, you might choose 3 days that you do it, or 2 days that you do it. But whatever you do, pick the same days, be consistent with it, and keep doing it. You can post in other, time slots and whatever, that's fine as well. But you just want to pick maybe 2 times that you are consistently there showing up. All right. Someone's asking, what are you eating, Aldrin?
I was eating almonds, and now I'm eating ginger because I've had a bit of a sore throat. So I'm doing all the healthy stuff. I'll be getting onto the chocolate later. So.
Sorry for that segue there. Okay, so don't ignore the other channels as well too. So definitely jump into the other channels. I'll generally jump into LinkedIn as well too, and I'll comment and follow and like and share. So post there, not there nearly as much as Facebook. Although I did try to break up with Facebook once, but Facebook took me back again. So
it wouldn't let you leave.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Maybe I was just too familiar with Facebook, and I just didn't want to sort of didn't want a new sort of love of my life to get familiar with. So LinkedIn is still out. Well, it's still there, but it's they're still not the center of my attention.
Just on that, I think the choice of, because I was thinking about this the other day, because I was setting up a LinkedIn thing as a result of one of these other sessions that we had. And I was sort of thinking, it's probably, when it comes to which one you engage on the most, it's very likely to be where your clients are most likely to be found. So building websites, for example, you're going to have a broader range of clients who will be on Facebook for all sorts of various reasons, whereas they might not have, that sort of professional thing on LinkedIn, depending on the type of business that they're in. But if you're in a specialist medical field, LinkedIn might be something that's relevant, just off the top of my head, but there's probably something to factor into the choice of platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, if you're going back to, let's say, this one here, nail your niche. This is all about your ideal customer, where your customers hang out. That's part of your decision as to what, platform you're really going to hang out on the most, is think about where those people are. Mine probably tend to be on Facebook, because they're typically, how people have found me, and I tend to attract people from that platform, because that's where I am. I'm sure if I developed a decent profile on LinkedIn, the same would happen over there as well, Jim. Probably a slightly different niche or skew in terms of customers, but you can do it on either platform. But yeah.
So this is awkward. What profile do you post on? Do you post on your personal profile on Facebook, or do you use Smashco, or for most of that engagement?
That is a very good question, actually. Can I just sort of get a show of hands here? Who here's got a Facebook page? Just give us a show of hands. So it's a business page. All right, so about half the room. Okay. How many people sort of prefer to post for their business on their page or their personal profile? Who goes page? Posts on their page? Just put your left hand up. Who posts on their personal profile? Okay. Oh, okay. So, yep. So both as well. Great. Thanks. So, my preference is personal profile. So I do it on my personal profile. The reason for that is that, and this really comes down to, what are you building? You're building a personal brand and a personal following, or are you really just wanting people to focus on a product or service or business type of thing? In terms of people's psychology, they will tend to follow people. They're not going to follow businesses. They're going to tend to follow. So for me, when you have a look at my posts, I've got the live on Tuesday, which is generally about this event here on Tuesday night. My gym posts, they probably don't quite fit in a business page, but they do fit on a personal profile. I could make it fit on a page, but people want to get to know you as a person. They don't want to get to know you as a business. They want to do business with you because of what the products and services that you offer, but primarily they're connecting to you because they like you and they resonate with your values, or they hate you, which is fine too. So it doesn't matter whether people like you or hate you, because if people don't like you, they're just not going to comment or follow. Maybe they will comment. Some people do, but they're not going to be attracted to you, so you will attract those people you want. So I would encourage you to use your personal profile. I use my personal.
Mick, I was told by a Facebook expert, use that term loosely, that you post to your personal page, and then you share that post to your business pages.
Yep, that's what I do. That's that methodology. So I'll share it from my personal profile to my business pages, to my groups, to stories, and to reels. So make sure that when you're doing it, is you share it as wide as you can. So definitely post it to reels and stories if you can, if you've got video for reels and stories, because reels and stories get way more views than your ordinary posts. So you'll get a lot more engagement with that there. In fact, we had so Irene Pfister and Steve Pfister on here sort of a while back as well too. They just focus on just reels as well too. There's an incredible amount of views that you get on reels and stories. The other thing I do too is to post on other groups. So share to other groups. So, we'll post natively into other groups and we'll share into other groups as well. So there are business groups. So you need to check the rules in various different groups, but some of them will allow you to share and post organically into their groups. So there are things like Gold Coast Business. There's business in Brisbane. There's a ton of them out there. So have a look at groups where your ideal audience. So remember we talked about solving that one problem and that particular niche there. Have a look and think, where do those people generally hang out? Now, they may hang out, it may not be an industry group, it might be just a common interest group. It could be, for instance, a cycling group, but most of your people there sort of hang out in a cycling group, for instance. And if that cycling group allows you to post, then definitely post on those there, because what happens is when you post in groups, one is you get more people see the posts, because the way Facebook algorithm's set up is that, or it used to be, that everybody in the group would see your post. So it would run it out to everybody in the group. Not quite that at the moment, but you get way more reach than on your personal profile, which is around about 3 to 5%. And certainly a lot more than pages. What Facebook does is it wants you to pay for reach in pages. So that's another reason not to use a page as your main profile, because they want you to take out ads to share it out. So you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. So if you got in your profile and you share it to your page, then you've got 2 avenues that it's there. If you start to share it to 10 different groups, then you've got a whole lot more reach as well. And that's what I tend to do. So you'll often see the same posts get shared to a number of groups. Sometimes people see the same thing 2 or 3 times. That's okay. It's a bit like ads on TV. Sometimes they only see it in one group because that just happens to be where they are. They don't see it anywhere else, but they'll follow the breadcrumbs back to my profile. Brad.
Yeah, just one thing about there. You mentioned about native posting and just sharing, and there is a big difference, because but Facebook can actually tell whether you're typing or cutting and pasting or whatever, and it does affect the algorithm. So if you can, you're better off doing native posts and that rather than sharing. So if you've got the same content that you post up on your profile, you're better off taking that content and posting it again on your page rather than sharing, because it just works the algorithm a little bit better.
It does. So yeah, that's absolutely right. And if you're posting in a number of groups, then it always pays to change it up a bit, so it's not exactly the same, because if it's exactly the same, again, Facebook picks it up, says this is the same, and it does affect your reach as well too. So if you can change it up a bit, that's good as well too. But it's better, if you can't do that, it's better to have it there across a number of groups there, the same, than it is not to do it at all. All right. All right, where are we up to here? Oh, okay. So the next thing is be all over Google. That is really important. So what I mean by that there is that when people are searching for you, make sure that you are everywhere on Google. So if you search up my name, for instance, NIKCREE, you'll find that I think it's about the first 6 to 7 pages in Google, every single listing is mine. So they include things like podcasts. They include, if I've been a guest speaker on a podcast, they include things like these events here. So every Tuesday. So one of the benefits of marketing this all over the place is it appears in Google. YouTube videos. So wherever possible, create videos for YouTube. So all of the stuff that we've got on this particular program, it gets cut up and put on YouTube as well. Even things like networking. So I'm part of networking groups as well too. And so I've got a profile, or like a directory profile in networking groups, and they appear in Google search as well too. So as much as possible, you know, just look for opportunities. You don't have to be actively looking for the opportunities, but just know that if you get on people's podcasts, webinars as a guest, networking groups, or any other website media as well, like if you get free publicity in newspapers or magazines or blogs or that sort of thing there, they get into the search algorithm as well too. And so all of those opportunities really help to position you as the expert. In fact, that free media, you know, in articles that you have on, you know, so, you know, largest publications, not even largest publications, but, you know, other publications, that's probably some of the best media you can get, because it gets indexed by the search engines. It gets you up there on search, particularly with your name in it as well too. Aldrin's who's here, she's running a program on that. What was that, 22nd, Aldrin, of this month? So
Yes, correct.
yeah, so if you haven't been to that, if you want to know how to get you know, into that media and get that free coverage and get into search so you're dominating Google, Aldrin's workshop, because she's got a ton of really good information, practical steps to be able to do that. And she's put the link in the chat, which is great too. Thanks. So, and the other thing too about being all over Google, if you've got a website, and you should have a website, then make sure that you just go through the process of optimizing that website for search as well too. It's not difficult. There's plenty of resources out there to do it. If you've got a WordPress website, which is probably one of the, well, it is, in my opinion, one of the better ones to have. Then there are plugins in there like Rank Math or Yoast. They are plugins that you can plug in, and you just fill in the boxes. They give you a traffic light system. It's going to be red, orange, or green. You try and get your pages to green, and that there will really help to you know, get your presence up in Google search as well too. I've just really simplified that. It's not all just about the green dot, but there's a bit more to it. But at least if you do that, then you're going to be ahead of everybody else that doesn't do it.
Hey, Nick, just a quick one on the Google as well. The Google My Business, which has been renamed to the Google's business profile, is also a super important one to claim. So many businesses that I come across haven't even claimed their listing, let alone optimize it. There is a ton of free resources in that Google business listing that you can go in there and do. Primarily the one that's missed most commonly is the products and service features. So even for the businesses out there that say, oh, I'm just a service-based business, what you can do is turn those services into products, and that features very prominently in the Google business section, where you can actually promote what it is that you do. 36% of your SEO comes from optimizing that profile alone. And unfortunately, too many business owners have only just claimed the listing and not done anything with it since.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, thanks for bringing that up. If I was to give a number one tip, it would be that there. Before you've even got a website, is to make sure you've got a fully optimized Google My Business profile. What do they call it now? Google Places?
Google. No, just Google Business Profile.
Google Business Profile. Yep. So if you don't have one of those tonight, well, you don't have one of those now, I would highly recommend that after we finish tonight, you hop on there and go and claim your profile. Super easy to do, but it is the most important asset, I think, that Google's got that a lot of people are missing out on. So thanks for that, Carl. That is that's good. All right. Other thing too is in your socials, give incredible value as well. One of the things that I see businesses doing all the time is to hold back. So they've got all of this knowledge that they hold back and say, you're not going to have it unless you pay for it. So while on a surface, it appears like good logic, you've got the keys to the kingdom and you have to buy a key in order to come in. It actually damages you and hurts you, and you have to work a whole lot harder to get people to buy the key to come into the kingdom. So here's the thing. People say, well, if I give everyone all the information about what I do and how to do things, then they'll just go off and do it themselves. Well, yes, that is true. There are people out there that will take exactly what you tell them, and they'll go off and do it themselves. But those people there generally would not going to be a customer anyway. They'll be out there Googling to try and find the information so they can do it themselves. But interesting thing happens, and I've had this happen before, is that they will go and do it themselves. If someone comes and asks them, who do they know that can help them with their problem that they've got, or a specific problem? So let's say it's Google My Business, since we're talking, or what was it, Google Business Profile. If we're talking about that, Carl might come up and just give full instructions about how to set it up. But they may have a friend that comes on and says, well, look, who do you know does it? Look, this guy, Carl, he just go through all this information you've got here. It'll show you to do it. Think, I'm not doing that. I'm too busy. I just want someone to do it for me. They will go to Carl. So you actually get referrals off people who are those DIYers. So don't worry about giving away the information because it'll come back to you in terms of business. The other thing that happens too is that often when people are assessing who they want to deal with, they do want to deal with someone that's knowledgeable, that knows what they're doing. What's the best way to demonstrate your knowledge? Is you tell them and you give them all of the steps that you go through and the things that you do, and it's quite transparent as well. So if you've got someone that's holding things close to their chest and you have to pay for the keys to the kingdom, or someone that's just given it all to you, if you want to use those products or services or buy them, who do you go to? Someone you don't really know because they've hidden it all, or do you go to the person that's transparent and is given everything? So give incredible value and just give everything. So trust me, it works. I've done that for about 30 years now, even before I was online, and it's just one of the biggest tips in terms of generating business and to become well known, because what happens is that people will then go and talk about you as well too. If you give that incredible value, they will talk about you.
Old age.
All right. Number 4 is commitment and consistency. That image there is, if you've ever been to the gym, or if you haven't, this is the worst exercise you could ever do. That is picking up some ropes and thrashing these ropes up and down on the ground. It looks like it's not too hard, but it is incredibly difficult. But it is all about commitment and consistency. When you do that, it's like you do it to the end. So we talked about that there before. Is it's like if you're developing your profile online, and you find it's not working, or you're not getting the traction. So I do get people say that, look, I've been doing this posting, but nothing. I'm getting nothing back. Usually they're about 2 weeks into it. I'm about, what am I, about 25 years into it now. So, you know, it does take time, but 2 weeks into it's not enough. Once you're 3 to 6 months into, you know, posting consistently and being online consistently, working on your videos, if you've got a YouTube channel, getting podcast invitations to be guests on it. If you do that consistently, then you'll start to see some results. So don't give up. That's the biggest mistake I see people make, is they just give up too early, and they give up just before they start to get that success. And I guess alongside that as well, it's dangerous just to look at the metrics of how many people are following you, liking, sharing, that sort of thing there. Just don't worry about that there at all. It will organically build. So if you get no likes, don't worry about it. Just keep going. And like at the very beginning, I had no likes. No one liked me. But these days, what was it? I posted it was a post I put up from my time at the gym, and it was about something that no one ever talks about. And I know some people commented on that here, and that was at the gym. If you're in a squat position and you feel a fart coming on, is it okay to let it go? Sometimes you have no choice, it just goes. But that post there, I thought, oh, this could go either way. You know, it's just one of those risky ones that you sort of think, well, you could bomb or not. But I think it's almost up to 100 comments now, and it's well over 100 in terms of sort of reactions to it as well too. So so you never know.
Nick, I may have thought of you when I was swimming on Sunday with a similar thing happening.
Jet propulsion. So you never know what's going to happen and which ones are going to kick off. Like I know they'll put posts up there. And I thought, oh, this is just a killer. You know, this one here is going to take off. It's going to be viral. I'm going to be the next famous sort of TikTok guy on a skateboard drinking orange juice. You know, it's just going to go across the globe. And crickets, nothing. And then there's other random ones that I put up that are just sort of brain explosions that I just put up there, and all of a sudden, boof, off it goes. It just takes off. And sometimes you just don't know why things take off or how it happens or what it is. You know, if I knew the secret to what goes viral and what gets all the comments, I would be an absolute trillionaire now selling that knowledge. But I don't. It's all experimentation. So, but the key thing is show up, be consistent, keep going. And that's why I say schedule the stuff in your diary as well, because if you schedule it, then it's going to happen. And one of the things is don't ever miss an appointment with yourself. Don't let anyone else book it in. Just, you know, that is part of your business. There you go. Schedule yourself. I had a slide about that. So there you go. All right, almost there. So just remember in order to start to get that traction as well too, it's not all about you. So you're not just writing about you, you're writing for you're thinking about the problems that people have got, you're writing for them. So engage, be engaging. I mean, have you ever been on I know we may not have been on an aircraft for a while now, but that's all starting to open up now, but ever been on an airplane and you've had someone sitting next to you talking and they talk your ear off for the whole way? And they are incredibly boring because all they're doing is talking about themselves. I've had that many a time. I don't know, I must just have this face that looks interested. Maybe I should just sort of put on a sour look, but you know, it's just that invitation. And then at the end, here's what they say. They say, oh, you're the most interesting person I've met. So, so they've done all the talking. So don't be the one that's doing all the talking. Engage people so that they start talking. If they start talking, then they think you're interesting. Weird, isn't it? So, so often the way that, you know, well, often good ways to engage to having those irreverent posts like that one that I put up, or the things that people don't talk about, or, you know, some questions. So ask people questions, get people's opinions, and also celebrate people's wins as well. So some of the best things that you can do is if you've had clients, and if it's okay to share, like it's not confidential, share their wins. So celebrate their wins on there. That's a really good way to get people on side, because guess what people do when you celebrate them in media? They share it. They tell people. So you get them sharing for you. So you get other people finding out because they're doing the work of getting stuff out. If you ask questions, same sort of thing happens as well too. So really do be engaging, ask and celebrate. In fact, some of the best things you can do is put case studies up. So if you've had successes with clients, put case studies up. I know that Brad Delaney here, he's the headshot guy. You've probably seen his photos up on LinkedIn and Facebook. He's always posting them up there consistently. So two things happen there. He's got the people he takes photos of, share it with their friends and family and colleagues as well too, and they get comments there. And the second thing it does is it you know, it positions him as an expert because he shows, you know, the sort of work that he does as well. And connect with influencers and experts. Now this is probably more of an advanced thing. It's, you know, you may not be able to do this to start with, but as you start to develop your influence there and start to develop your notoriety out there, then you will have people that have got bigger audiences than you that will start to follow you, engage with you. So go to their audiences and go to their pages and engage with them as well too. And then some of the best things you can do is to get on, you know, if they've got podcasts or webinars, get on their podcasts and webinars as a guest. There's a bit of a trick behind it. You need to sort of have some reason for them to invite you on. And you need to have sort of something really to contribute. The best way to start contributing is start contributing to the discussions in their social media. So, you know, be on their pages, you know, in their groups, really contribute. Even if it's just a like, a heart, those sort of things there, people notice that sort of stuff. So, you know, so that's that. If that's all you did is just go around and like and heart and add smileys to, you know, sort of to people's posts, I know that I look through I told you not to focus on the metrics and things, but I can't help myself. I go through and look who's like this, who's sort of hearted it, who's smiled, who's laughed, all that sort of thing. So, you know, people do that sort of stuff. So, you know, so even people with large followings will do that as well too. So don't discount the value of doing that. Particularly important on a platform like LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn, you typically don't get the same sort of engagement as you do in Facebook. But if you're sharing and you're sort of reacting and maybe commenting, then that goes a long way on LinkedIn when you then go and connect with them with a direct message. All right, so what's next? What's your superpower? So if you think about, you know, what is it that you want to be known for? Actually, just drop it into chat. What do you want to be known for? So what's your go-to expert? And here's the thing with it too, is that if you decide to be known for something and you realize it's the wrong thing, don't worry about it. Just change it. So, but the key is to start with something like the real estate agent that I talked about that, you know, just zeroed in on inner city properties, still wasn't right. He just kept on refining and refining and refining until he got, you know, what was his $1 million niche. All right, what do we got? So Deborah, be helpful and knowledgeable. Headshot guys, making people look good. Definitely do that. You know, you've made this character look good. And Jane, currently doodling. So doodles, yeah. So Jane wants to be known as the doodler. Well, you are, I think, aren't you? Actually, yeah, you're becoming quite well known for that because you've linked doodling and concentration together. So that's a really good strategy as well too. Is doing something that's counterintuitive. People think if you're drawing and doodling, then you're not concentrating. Jane has come through and said that no, when you're doodling, you're concentrating. So she's been counterintuitive with it and has really become known for that, right?
I have, but the funny thing is that a doodle in Australia is different to a doodle in the US and
yes.
UK. So I can either use that or I can just be very subtle.
Yeah, some of those language things can be good too. Excellent. There we go. Small business websites. Look out me, eh? That's a story, Michael. We'll bring out the best. Fred, the connector. Yes, you definitely do that well, Fred. All right. So just drop down your actually, it is good to jot down what you want to be known for, because remember that you can save this chat as well too. So you'll be able to save the chat with those 3 little dots down the bottom right-hand side. Then you can follow up people and have a look at their socials and seeing whether that's what they are being known for as well too. All right. Excellent. Any questions, comments, anything else? That's here endeth how to be an online expert. It's a bit of a whistle-stop tour with it all. But yeah, any questions or comments there that I haven't answered? No, all clear. Excellent.
Yeah, no, I reckon it was a great session again, Nick. Really appreciate it. You covered a lot of topics and really, you know, gave us a lot of food for thought. So a lot of things to think about over the next couple of days and hopefully implement some of them too. So another great session. Appreciate it, mate.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Fred. If some of these strategies that I talked about in here are quite specific strategies with a you know, a process that goes in behind it, if we were to run some specifics of workshops on that, would you be interested? Just drop a yes into chat if that's something that you would be interested in, and yeah, then we can consider sort of following up with some of that as well too. All right, excellent. Okay. Yeah, because we covered a lot of ground. There's probably a whole year's worth of implementation, so workshops and that to really help you get all those together as well. All right, it's excellent. All right, we do have a door prize, so we're just over time here. So let me just grab all the names here. We're one team member short today, so I'm having to do some of the work. Can you believe? Okay. All right, Old One actually has a prize, so some tickets to give away. Do you want to tell us about that while I get all the names into chat, into the wheel here, Old One?
Sure, Nick, thank you very much for the opportunity. Yes, we have 2 tickets to give away to the Free Publicity Secrets Masterclass. It is 4 hours online. It is intensive. It absolutely flies by. We have a 10-minute break. So talking about giving a lot of content, I do not hold back on exactly how you can pitch to journalists, going from having no idea on how to feature in the media to actually maximizing the media that you do get once you get the publicity that you get. And there's literally millions of opportunities to get yourself out in the media. And just adding to what Fred was saying, I really loved tonight's session too, Nick. Love the value you deliver. I think this is one of the best ones you've done, actually. Really enjoyed tonight's session. And I want to remind people too, on this journey of being known as the expert, that I put a quote there earlier, it takes a lifetime to be an overnight success.
Yes, it does.
Like, be patient with yourself, I recommend, on this journey. It does take time to be known as the expert, and remembering that only 3% of people are ready to do business with you at any one time. So the thing is actually to be known as the expert, so that when people are ready to do business with someone in your industry, that they will come to you. And this actually happened with me recently. Someone I know for 15 years who wasn't ready to get media, kept putting it off, and then came to me after 15 years and actually said, right, now I'm ready. So, you know, be patient with yourself, I recommend, on this journey.
Absolutely. Actually, that's really good advice, Old One. I know that sort of being at the gym, you know, I do talk about that, but it's, you know, you think fitness takes a long time. Took me 6 weeks to get in to be a winner of the challenge and competition, but it was small things that happened every day. So it's turning up consistently every single day, getting small wins every day. And the same with business. So you don't actually have to be successful right from the get-go. It just is a gradual thing.
Yes, and there's always more opportunities to do more in business, in marketing. You know, it's like the sky's the limit. So the main thing is, you know, that 1% change a day is 365% at the end of the year, right? So,
exactly.
So just taking those small action steps. So these tickets are $197 online, and they are absolutely phenomenal. People have attended this workshop all over the place and gone straight out and got publicity. So if you want to know the secrets, and having worked as a journalist for over 30 years, I can tell you what journalists are looking for. So I'd love you to join me. So let's see who the 2 lucky winners are, Nick.
All right, let's spin the wheel. And yeah, if you haven't been, highly recommend Aldrin's. I've been to it, and yeah, I've got free publicity too, so which has been great. And the winner is Jenny M. Is Jenny on the call?
I am. That's so wonderful. Thank you. I've been wanting to win this for a while, Aldrin.
Oh, there you go, Jenny. Good on you. Consistently showing up. You see, there you go. It pays off in the end. Well done.
Excellent. And we've got one more ticket too, have we?
One more.
All right,
yes.
let's spin the wheel again. Who's going to join Jenny along with this?
Thank you, Jane. July 22, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Online or offline? Online.
Yep.
So Jeff, that is you, which is good that it's online because he's in Manila.
Perfect.
I was just congratulating Jenny. Now here I am.
Well excellent. Excellent.
Congratulations.
All right. Well, we'll connect you both up to Aldrin by email tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. And we have one other prize tonight. That is my one. And a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was a week ago, ran a workshop, which is how to generate an additional $100 a day online. Here we go. Oh, Will's here. So Will was at that program. What do you think of it, Will? Oh, he might have disappeared. Oh, there he is.
No, I'm here. Yeah, it was great. It's good. Very
so
interesting.
Oh, good. Yeah. So that was a full day program. We've got all the replays available for that as well too. So we're going to sort of draw that. So you don't have to pay for it. You can get all the replays and all the benefit of that there. So let's spin that. Lucky winner for this one here is, drum roll, please. Oh, it's on the cusp. Morella. Are you here, Morella?
Yeah, and as you spun it, I said, Mirror.
You're the queen of manifestation, aren't you?
Hear me.
Excellent. Oh, you'll love this, Marilla. It was a good session, and for you, I think it'll do really well for your business as well too.
Oh, thank you. I'm so grateful. So how do I find out about it? Or
yeah, we'll be in touch with you tomorrow. One of my team will sort of shoot you through the logins, and then you'll have access to it all to go through at your leisure.
Thank you, mate. Thank you so much.
Excellent. All right, well, that's the session for tonight. Thanks for sticking around, and particularly since I've run late. Why is it that I'm the only one that runs late when I've got guests here? I've got to make them finish on time. But anyway, you've stuck with me, so thank you. If you do want to watch this again, it will be up on the YouTube channel, Smash Go YouTube channel, tomorrow afternoon. The link for that is in chat. So the best way to join that is to go and subscribe to the channel. Click the bell after you've subscribed. Then you'll get a notification as soon as that video has been uploaded. If you are not yet a member of Business Owners Smashing It Online Facebook page, now's a great time to go and join, because we post up all of these apps and tools, and they all go up there as well too. So you've got another record of them. You can comment, you can share, and join that community. Introduce your business as well too. You're allowed to post in there as well too. Apart from that, the link for that is in chat. And apart from that, we'll be back here next Tuesday with another exciting topic as well. In fact, next week, our speaker is in China. So he's actually lives in China. He's been living in China during the whole lockdowns and all that sort of thing. He's actually from UK, and so he's going to be talking to us about presentation skills and how to be a better speaker online to really communicate your message, do it well. He's an actor, an acting coach, and he's got a really fascinating take on it. So I'm really looking forward to that. And if you're in the podcast space, webinar space, this is a really good session to go to. If you're wanting to get into that space, it's also good to come along to get some tips on that too. He gave me one tip, and that made a ton of difference. I'm a sort of reasonably experienced speaker, but he gave me one tip that just helped to take it to the next level as well. So that's it for I lost my words. That's it for tonight. Thanks for everyone for coming along, and look forward to seeing you during the week and next week.